How's it going, children? Who's in the mood for a bit of mindless violence? So this was a blitz game I played earlier on today in the Rousseau Gambit. So we have normal King's Knight opening, the Italian, and the Rousseau. Now, this is where all hell breaks loose. I'm absolutely loving my Gambits right now, and the Rousseau is just great. And here, I mean, my opponent's rated over 1500 in blitz. He takes the pawn. Never take the pawn. The point is that black now has this move with tempo and forces the knight away. Knight retreats all the way back to g1, and we now play knight to f6, guarding the h5 square from the queen, and we are preparing to play this. The computer, I think, actually prefers the immediate d5, but that does invite this, and then you've got problems. It gets complicated. So this is the way I do it. They now bring out their knight, and key thing to remember, you can play d5. We have this thing in the anti-Vienna. I played this f5 anti-Vienna thing where there was an issue with pinning the knight, and then that's not possible, but we're all fine because the d-pawn is still at home and that bishop can't get out. So we throw in d5, and now black already, 6 moves in, we've staked our claim on the centre. Yes, we've given up a pawn, but this is not the point. We are going for blood. So there's only 2 moves really for the bishop. Bishop now comes into b5, and we grab the pawn back. Okay. White now decides to play knight g to e2. Which seems to be a reasonable developing move. He has taken away one of the bishop's retreat squares there. So I decide here to kick, and the bishop retreats. And we will look at the review after this. I think it wanted me to kick again, I'm not sure, with this. But what I do is I play bishop out to c5. Now looking at then, and just look at, I've got all 4 minor pieces developed, all on decent squares. Yeah, this bishop could be improved because it's not really looking at anything down there. And now we have a3 from white. Is white thinking about this, or is white trying to create an escape square for the bishop? Not really sure. So anyway, computer doesn't like this move, but I decide to dive in with d4. I'm going to punch a hole straight through the centre of the board. Knight now retreats. I mean, where else can that knight go? It can't go here because I take with the knight. Can't go here because I take with the bishop. Can't go here because I take with the pawn. So he's only really got two squares. So that knight goes all the way back home, and we really are in a dominant position. And this is what I like about this game, is that I keep the pressure on. It's not a perfect game, but d3. d3, this is forcing. It's a fork. It's a fork. I'm attacking the knight, I'm attacking this pawn here, and if pawn takes, I'm still attacking the knight, and that knight is going to have to move. Okay? Knight moves out now to g3, and here, I think queen e7. So I thought about queen e7 for a little while, looked around for anything else. I mean, I could castle. Queen e7 check would allow me to castle either side as well. But I figured out the knight can't block because, we've got, if queen's here, we could just have queen takes, check again. This bishop is now looking really evil. This pawn is really evil. Right up on the 6th rank, this early in the game. So I throw in queen e7. I go for this. This bishop is technically hanging, but it doesn't count because white's now in check. Okay, so the bishop's been hanging from that knight move. So, yeah, queen e7. And what can he do? If the queen blocks, gets taken by pawn, loses. Right? Knight blocks here, taken by the pawn. Knight blocks here, probably taken by the queen. So it's king f8. King f1. Now I retreat the bishop, maintaining my defense of this pawn, and we have pawn to b4. So I push my bishop forward. I'm liking the fact of this. I'm looking forward to short castles, getting my rook onto the f-file, and of course this now comes with tempo of its own because I'm hitting the rook. White blocks with the knight, I'm wondering whether he should have done... Oh, he can't block with the bishop. He can't block with the bishop. Yeah. So this does not trouble my bishop at all. Right, I've just completely got out of trouble. I short castle. Now we have bishop b2 from white. But it's going to end in tears very soon after the move. Knight to g4. Okay. So knight g4. Now I have 1, 2, 3... pieces attacking f2, and white tries to push the pawn to f3, where it is now technically defended twice and only attacked once, which is by my rook. So now I bring in my other rook, rook a to e8, and now we have... See, this pawn can't take the knight because it's in an absolute pin. Okay, so that pawn legally cannot capture on either side. And this is probably a mistake because I have 1, 2, 3 attackers. How many defenders has the knight got? It's only got 1. This guy's pinned. This guy's not a defender. So I can grab that, and if knight takes, queen takes. Right? And now after bishop d4, again, look, this pawn is theoretically attacking 2 pieces, including my queen, but it can't do nothing because it's pinned by the rook. Okay? And here I decide to capture with the queen. Thought about capturing with the knight, but I thought queen actually comes with a checkmate threat on the next move, and white just resigned at this point. So absolute grade A arse kicking. I've got the here is the report. 78 for me, 59 for my opponent. He played 11.08 and I played at 16.41, which is pretty... I mean, I've never been that high in blitz, so that's pretty cool. And there's a brilliant move. So let's go through and see what we can improve. Book move, inaccuracy. Okay, best move, advance with tempo. It doesn't count as losing a turn because we are... Yes, we're moving a pawn that we've already developed a second time, but it comes to tempo, so it doesn't count. Okay, knight retreats. This knight should actually have come forward. And that would give an even game. Here it says, yeah, d5 is best. So if we look at d5, queen comes out with check, and we have to move our king. Then the knight comes out with tempo again. So, I don't know. I mean, this is a decent position for black, but I prefer this move order. Okay, so I come out with the knight first, and the knight then also protects the d5 square. They bring out their knight, we push d5, which is the best move. This is inaccurate. Knight takes d5 as best here. Interesting. So if knight takes d5, bishop takes f5. Wow, so we don't take. No. Bishop takes f5. Is that the best move? Knight takes is good. Bishop takes f5. Okay. So we're attacking this knight. Then if the knight retreats, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. Anyway, so humans are going to move the bishop in this situation. Bishop grabs the pawn. Best move. Yeah, it's not a big fan of this one. a6. Here it's saying you should push d4 straight away. Don't dilly-dally with kicking the bishop. Bishop retreats, should have traded off. And this is a missed win, apparently. So here, it wants me to double kick the bishop, force the bishop back to b3. So let's have a look. This bishop b5 is best. So, sorry, b5 is best. There. Oh, that's it. That's as far as it goes. And then we can do this, I suppose. So I bring out my bishop. This is a miss, d4. So I guess part of that is, yeah, preventing white from getting in the move d4. So I wasn't really thinking about my opponent's best defensive options here. Yeah, d4 would have been... I mean, I guess we can capture en passant, but Okay. And now we play d4, and now it says it's a miss, another miss, because we're blocking off this bishop's view of the f2 square, and it's saying knight to g4. I mean, I think knight to g4 he just castles, doesn't he? But this is, I like this. It comes with tempo. But apparently knight g4 is -6.5, and that is really good. So, I mean, for me, I'm loving this. And then d3, now again, is the best move. And we're -6 already. Recapture. And knight moves there. He should have castled and sacrificed the knight, given up the knight. But there you go. This is what goes on. Okay, bishop f4 being the best move here. I guess it can run into, sorry, g4. It can run into f3. That would have been -8. King has to move. That's kind of forced. Bishop dropping back there. I brought it back to g6 because it's defended on g6 by a pawn, and it's defending the very annoying bone in the throat pawn on d3. Okay, bishop b4. We come for best move, but this is completely winning position. Now castles is best. Obviously, lining up the rook on a semi-open file against the opponent's king, really is a no-brainer. Bishop to b2, and now the brilliant knight f4. Knight f4 is a brilliant move. Difficult to see, I'm not sure. So, I mean, this could have fallen to knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, whatever. I just thought, let's avoid all of that, because there's quite a lot of traffic on that square. Let's avoid all of that, put the knight on g4. Let's just check out knight e4. Yeah, and that would be a mistake, and we're almost even. We are almost even with this move, right? Whereas that, -8, wow. Best move by white. Yeah, it doesn't like this one, so it's saying put the queen here. And the idea is that this pawn's still pinned, so it can't take the knight. And we are actually threatening to capture on h2 with check. Yeah, they can't push the pawn because the knight falls. So what would they do? Knight c to e4. Something like this. Being best. And then we can take on h2. The king has to move, can't go there, there, has to go here. Can't go here because of the pawn, right? I mean, there's only two moves. Rook takes or king moves. Rook takes is actually best. King e1. And we eliminate this bishop, which is the only defender of this knight. Okay, they play queen b3 check. We move out of the way. Yeah, king h8. And this is good, let the engine teach you. King h8 is best, and then he's going to try and run away. Obviously, we take the knight, yeah? Yeah, take the knight. But this is horrible. These bishops are disgusting in the middle of the board. And if they take, when we get an even eviler knight on d4. So that is very nasty indeed. Yeah, so back to here then. He pushes rook across there. Is still -5, And knight there is a mistake because we can just take, and that's the end of the game. So yeah, lovely stuff. But that's the whole point of the gambits. If you give up a pawn, or sometimes two pawns, sometimes even a piece in the case of things like the Halloween gambit. But what you have to do is you have to look at, well, what's the imbalance in my favor because of this? And in general, it's rapid development. Rapid development, in this case, we also had a lot of space in the middle of the board, and you've just got to bury the hatchet as quickly as you can, right? You have to go for the throat. And here, obviously, my opponent, decent blitz player, just had to crumble in the face of that. So, yeah, very enjoyable. Thought I'd share. Thank you for watching. See you soon.